Get some 8% seltzer shipped right to your house. We got the peach, we got the watermelon, we got the pina colada, and the blue raspberry. We are currently live in over 300 stores in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and the Outer Banks in North Carolina. And if you're heading out to the Major League ballparks this summer, make sure to check us out in the Miami Marlins Stadium, as well as Tropicana Field, home to the Tampa Bay Rays, as well as the Tampa Bay Rowdies. We are live inside all three stadiums. So if you're down in Florida this year, check us out. Go to hardafseltzer.com today and check your store locator or order them right to your house.
Welcome to Drinking Bros, presented by GhostBed.com.
Yeah, welcome to Drinkin' Bros, kids. Got a real special Monday show for you today. As you can see here to my left, Steve-O's here today. Let's round of applause for Steve-O. There we go. There we go. Yeah, dude. Welcome to the show, friends. Let's start off with your movie. You got a movie coming out tomorrow night, Steve-O's Bucket List. We were able to get a screener of it last night. Full disclosure, wife said you were absolutely disgusting. She checked out at the live vasectomy. She could no longer do it anymore.
That's impressive that she made it that far.
Well, you know what the weird part of that is that during the live vasectomy, he was eating a bowl of clam chowder.
Whoa. Let's get in details about that. He had 4 to 5 people pass out during the recording of this show.
Correct.
In the
Movie.
audience.
And it's in the movie.
And he's talking about, hey, you know, you can pass out, but you're still a pussy. All right. I was eating hot clam chowder and watched the whole thing and got more.
Why were you to war? You've been to war. That doesn't count. Like,
yeah, but
disgusting
you don't. Here's what you like. I don't know what you think war is, but it's not a lot of V-sex.
But it's V-sex with a bomb. I'm sure somebody's dick got blown off, and you were like, "Oh, look at that! There's the other half."
I
of the
did watch
dick.
a retarded woman with a baby get exploded, and her head fucking flew up in the air like this, end over end, which was pretty dope.
How'd you know she was retarded?
The way she was walking, I guess. I don't know.
Some might say you're retarded for doing all this shit, man. I mean, dude, I've been watching you for 25 years now, the better part of. I mean, I'll go old school with you before we get to this. First encounter in LA with my agent and everything else, kind of looking for things to write in TV shows. And he goes, look, man, if you're looking to go way off the fucking grid here comedically, I got this tape. And at that point, it was a VCR tape.
Nice.
Of Jackass. Now, you guys hadn't aired on MTV. And I don't know if you saw it or they actually put the scenes together because you guys weren't all together at that point. But do you remember the actual real pilot that was shopped to the networks?
I do. And if I even had any footage on it, it would have been footage that was recycled from the Big Brother skateboarding videos. But yeah, it was very clear that the way that Jackass was initially pitched was a VHS tape cobbled together, and apparently the same thing had happened for South Park, that they made like a crappy VHS tape and it got passed around to drum up interest. But yeah, it was low rent, low quality, like highly degraded VHS video footage.
But that's what we all loved about it. So behind the scenes, I'm not sure if you know this, most of the agencies, they would kind of reprint these tapes over and over and over again. It broke at ICM just because everybody was trying to keep making copies of this. When I finally got to see it, now I've been dying to ask you this for years now at this point, there is a scene where Johnny Knoxville puts on a bulletproof vest, takes a handgun, and shoots himself in the chest in the forest. Now, that never aired, obviously.
Right.
That's because it's a crime.
Yeah, is it?
Like, there are a lot of
Who
stuff
was
that you
telling
guys...
him what that vest was rated for?
Yeah,
though?
seriously, because...
It was Kevlar, bro. Yeah. It was Kevlar, dude.
Yeah, but you're one NIJ cert left or right. You're fucked. You don't know what gun you're shooting.
You're dead.
It was a .38 caliber Smith & Wesson handgun. And I think it was used. I think it was used he bought it for like $500.
Oh God, he bought. So not only was the act
was a drop
illegal,
weapon.
he also had some gun with bodies on it already.
Yeah. I forget if he said he put maybe a phone book under it too. I'm not sure.
That would be safe.
But
Yeah, 30 won't go through a phone.
you know
book
what?
on his own.
I don't know that he did. I don't know that he did. But because I've seen the footage so many times on my bucket list tour. Because it's a multimedia show, like every venue I ever did the show in had a huge screen. So as doors would open for the show and people start filing in, it made sense with the big screen right there, be showing them footage. So I made the most just filthy and fucked up infomercial for to play as a pre-show. and starting off the pre-show was a video called What Jackass Could Not Show, because I didn't give a fuck. I'm on tour, I'd show whatever I want. So I showed all the footage that was filmed but could not be aired. And the Smith & Wesson handgun with the bulletproof vest was absolutely in it. And in the footage, Knoxville, the way that he pictured the idea was to have somebody else shoot him. And the first thing you see when they're in this, it wasn't it was in kind of a weird canyon in California or something. And the first thing you hear is, man, I wish somebody would shoot me. But nobody was willing to be the one who fucking shot him.
Yeah, because it's murder.
Right.
Well, it depends. Alec Baldwin got away with it so far.
Well, for now.
Yeah, nobody was willing to be the one who shot him, but Knoxville thought that it was more dangerous because it was at a closer range, the fact that he had the gun backwards in his hand and shot himself. He held the gun backwards in his two hands. And what was so fucking crazy about it, or what made the footage so suspenseful, was that just like Russian roulette, he put in one bullet in the chamber, and it was a revolver. So you've got it's click, and there's all these clicks, and each time his buddies who are with him and filming it, they're like, PJ, let's fucking go. Forget it. They're like, dude, I'm out. There's just, it's such palpable high stress. And then when the gun finally does go off, it literally, his two hands can't hold it. The kickback of the gun sends the gun flying fucking 12 feet. And I surmise that actually made it safer, because by letting the gun kick back, it maybe took a lot of juice off the bullet, as opposed to really holding it. And you guys probably know better.
Let me hit
than
you
I
with
do.
some physics. So that did not happen for sure. What happened was the muzzle angled up farther.
Yeah,
that's what really
I was
happened.
scared of.
So God damn it.
So it could have blown off his
Muzzle
head
up,
instead,
so it
yeah.
could've went up.
Yeah, but it's a 38.
I mean, and they're, dude, the powder burns through the t-shirt.
Oh, yeah.
You could see him.
Oh, yeah.
It was just plain rad.
This is before you guys ever really even got started.
Well, I mean, it was in the Big Brother video. I mean, it was part of his self-defense equipment review. So he reviewed self-defense equipment, starting with red pepper spray, then a stun gun, then a taser gun, and then he did and all of the previous tests made it onto MTV.
So those all made it to air.
Yeah, because none of those are crimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the other one that I'm going to bring up that didn't make it to air, which was also probably a crime, and I wanted to ask you about it.
He says, I'm Johnny Knoxville, and I'm going to get hit by a car real soon. He's literally just standing in the middle of the fucking road when he says that, and sure enough, a car just comes not super fast, but not fucking slow. And
3,800 pounds of steel, and that's
it didn't slow down whatsoever. And he fucking goes breaks the windshield, and the car just never slows down. He blasts the windshield, rolls over onto the roof, and he's just out of frame.
Jesus
Gone.
Christ.
And so you don't know. And again, your show hadn't aired, so you don't know if any of these people are alive. None of you guys are famous yet. I want to go to the Home Depot one. I don't think you guys could air that on.
Yeah, that was the only lawsuit that we ever had. It wasn't a Home Depot. It was just like a random hardware store. The bit was that Knoxville, like covered in mud, wearing a
prison uniform.
Yeah, an orange jumpsuit.
Yeah.
With his hands in handcuffs, he goes into a hardware store, like asking for a hacksaw to cut off the. So, like, of course, they call the cops right away. The cops show up, and what was so embarrassing for the cops was that as the car pulls up, this female cop gets out, and she's forgotten to put her squad car in park. Oh, no. So she gets out of the squad car, and it just continues into a fucking telephone pole, which was super embarrassing. And then Knoxville comes out of the hardware store, and they got him on the ground. Their guns are drawn. They're like, "Why aren't you in jail? Why aren't you in jail?" It's just, like, overall really embarrassing. So there was a lawsuit from the LAPD, which was settled for like $5,000.
Well, you got out of that one.
Yeah, that's less than it costs to fix the fucking car that bitch fucked up.
Yeah, for sure. And then I don't know if you know. No, you know what? It was actually, I think, after. And sorry for interrupting.
No.
I think it was after Jackass came out that they filmed Box Downstairs, which was like just a big cardboard box. Knoxville got in it. He had like a couple pillows around him inside the cardboard box, and they just fucking closed it up, taped it all up, and like this big old fucking flight of cement stairs. They just fucking, and it's boom, 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 like over and over and over, Box Downstairs. It was so fucking brutal.
He had to have been knocked out, right?
No, he wasn't. I don't think he was knocked out, but you could tell that it was not a good experience.
Well, I believe the first aired episode of Jackass, it was you going into a sewage ditch out of a car.
The first one, the final bit on the first episode was the original Poo Cocktail, where Knoxville got in a heavily soiled porta potty, and they flipped it upside down.
Now, back to your movie here. You have a stunt in there called "The Shit Hits the Fan."
Which is exactly what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Right? I mean,
it's literal.
It's the most aptly named prank or joke or whatever.
That one would have like really made the, it never really would have been highly featured, except for the fact of like how my fiance reacted to it. Like that's really what made the bit for me, was that like here I'm, like shit's hitting this fan, like, and like, I foolishly thought it would come back at me, but really it just went sideways, like across the yard. Everybody's running for their lives, and my girl's fucking just standing strong, fucking taking it, getting the shot, and I'm like, this is the woman I need to spend the rest of my life with.
Yeah, there was a line at the end of it where she says, "Do I have any shit in my vagina?" Yeah. And
she did wear a skirt to the shit hits the
fan. She did. Not the best wardrobe.
Yeah, that could have been a tactical error, I guess.
Tiniest fucking miniskirt. So dumb.
Could have had a painter's jumpsuit.
Could have had a painter's jumpsuit. But the first time I saw you shit live on camera was actually that show that never aired. You were on stilts. Do you remember walking on stilts down the sidewalk? And you're shitting what appears to be 10, 12 feet up just on the sidewalk.
Wow.
And then you kept going in that. Also something they couldn't air. From that pilot that went around. And then at the end of it was Party Boy Pontius, who's also in the movie. No, he just put on the bunny ears and went oiled up his body and jacked off all over himself.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. That was his Playgirl shoot.
Full spread eagle jack, the whole thing, and all over himself. And that was the end of your pilot video to submit to network television. And I called my agent and I was like, yo, man, if this fucking thing gets on the air, dude, I guess we can do whatever we want. And then it did. Now cut to the first meeting over at Jackass. When you walk into the office, there is a 10-foot
picture of Party Boy completely buck naked doing the finger guns in Jeff Tremaine's office there. And that was before like HR and the Me Too and everything else. But you had to stare at his dick walking into that office every day.
Yeah, big time. That was there for a long time too. It might have been a photo from the actual Playgirl shoot, and then Playgirl fucking
Pulled her.
passed on him.
Oh,
Can you believe it, dude?
No.
Playgirl passed.
After all that work.
He's got a decent hog on him. I'm surprised they passed on it.
He's
Did they
got
give a
good body,
reason?
Yeah.
Good looks.
Yeah,
too.
did they give a
he looks
reason
good.
why?
It's because we're Playgirl. We take this very seriously.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
We take dongs.
Dude, they
fucking
had the
seriously.
blue Power Ranger in Playgirl.
Which one's the blue one?
The nerdy one.
Pull up the blue one.
Pull up the blue. Let's see the blue one.
Yeah, and let's
versus
see his
Party
dick too.
Boy.
If you could find his dick on there.
Yeah.
Billy is the blue Power
Yeah,
Ranger.
Billy, Billy.
I don't know
Billy.
why you know his name. That's weird.
That's creepy, man.
It's weird that you know his fucking name.
Touched by him at one point.
I'm just saying, like why they would even pass on Pontius and let the blue Power Ranger.
I know. I can't believe it. But as far as that run goes in the 2000s after that with Jackass, Wild Boys was iconic. Obviously, Bam Show was iconic. You guys owned television for the better part of 10, 15 years. I mean, it's unbelievable. And the fact that you're still doing it to this day is just goddamn shocking at this point.
It really, really is, man. Yeah, and thanks for the kind words. I don't know that we owned television for very long. Certainly, I think that Wild Boys and Viva La Bam had like pretty short runs from 2003 to 2005.
But you guys were gassing out seasons. How many seasons of Wild Boys did you do?
Only 4.
4. That's still a great run, though, in a
Yeah,
couple
I mean, dude,
years.
it's killer, dude. I'm not complaining about it at all. The thing about Wild Boys was that we leaned into the homoerotic humor so much that it was to the point of like alienating the audience, I think. I remember one time I was like I wanted to go to the skate shop to get something or other, and I was with my dad, and we're walking up to the skate shop, and there were a couple kids skating outside, and I was like pretty sure the kids were gonna recognize me, and like it would be a big deal, and I would be like super like proud that my dad got to see me get recognized. And we're walking up to the skate shop, and this one kid goes to the other one. He says, dude, that's Steve-O, the Wild Boys. And his skateboard buddy doesn't even look up. He goes, those dudes are gay. and that was what my homophobic father saw.
Wow.
Well, I mean, there is an attribution to it, though. Like you guys were the birth of reality TV because, I mean, honestly, Tom Green was the first kind of intro to reality television. And then in Jackass and Real World, like, you didn't have those shows.
Real World certainly preceded us. Real World was going on. And I don't even know that I would necessarily consider it reality TV, because with reality TV, the idea is that you set up the cameras and just kind of, it's fly on the wall, you know, observing like what's going on.
But that's not what it really is. You know?
That's really not what it is. Yeah. Like, we're far more in the vein of like sketch comedy.
Yeah.
But I mean, as far as who you guys are, the actual stunts you did, all the stunts were real, unless some of them were scripted or something else happened. I mean, it was the first time we'd ever seen real people putting their lives on the line every single week on a daily, like a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, unless you look at action sports. I mean, dude, like with the motocross and just all this nitro circus, man. Like,
yeah, Travis,
as far
crazy.
as like risking your life, like, I mean, certainly we rolled the dice enough. Like, there was some life-threatening stuff, no doubt, but I don't think anything compared to Nitro Circus.
Yeah, I think Trav might be immortal because of the amount of booze he drinks and the stupid shit he does.
Yep.
There's no way he should be alive. Like I've done the math; it doesn't add up.
He's over at Black Rifle Coffee, which is Jared's company, and the things that he does. I remember the first week you guys signed him, he almost died the first week. Remember that bit at the Ghost Bar where you tried to throw the parachute out?
Yeah, he tried to base jump off Ghost Bar in Vegas, right?
Yeah, and he just
hit the ground
crashed.
a little too hard.
No, this was during the filming of Gymkhana 12. That was the second year.
My God, dude.
The Vegas base jump was for the MTV Nitro Circus.
Oh, yeah. That's right. No. But the second one was when the chute didn't come out.
No, the chute came out. He caught a bad crosswind, and he landed without any brakes. So he landed on his hip, and it broke his hip. It broke his ribs.
I thought he was dead when I saw that footage. And then there was a news team there, and they were like, I think it's Travis Pastrana.
Of course, they just like shifted away after he started yelling for
but if
Matt to keep filming, because he did.
Yeah.
He goes, Matt, get in the car. Just bring the car around. We'll pretend it didn't work. And then they're like, you need to go to the hospital.
Yeah.
Now, if it had been Joe Rogan there, he would have gotten down to the ground next to him, put a microphone in his face. Trav, why did that not work out?
Yeah, how did that not work out?
Well, but it took him, though, like, by day 3 of him in the ICU, he's telling the nurse that he's dying, and they bring in a psychologist. And he's like, no, I don't need a psych. He's like, I've been in this bed so many times, you guys missed something. And they roll him back into the CAT scan and see his internal bleeding, and they're like, oh, God, we got to rush you to surgery. Like, he's like, yeah, I told you guys.
Has it happened to you?
Nothing like that, but as what happened?
What's your worst hospitalization?
Yeah, what's your worst hospitalization? Like, what was it? Because it seemed like you were getting knocked out every other week on Jackass.
Yeah, like burns are the worst experience that I had. I had skin graft surgery on 15% of my body.
Which
Holy
15%?
Shit. Yeah, we're at the dick.
It was mostly
the dick.
like my extremities, or like it was like my back, my arms was not my legs, it was my arms and my back. It was fucked up, dude. I laid down in a bed of rocket engine fuel and did snow angels while my buddies lit the.
Holy shit! Did that air?
Yeah, it aired. That was the closer of my second my second comedy special, which was my first multimedia comedy special.
Okay.
And then I was like, all right, cool, I'm doing multimedia, so now I'll go really crazy. And then that's the bucket list, which is just
bucket list pushes every envelope.
Bucket list pushes all of it. It's available tomorrow on stevo.com. But I want to, I guess, go back to the early days where you were drinking, doing pills, and all that other stuff. That makes sense for what you're doing on Jackass. I couldn't imagine not doing that show without pills and booze. Now you're doing all of this sober.
I can't even do this show without pills and booze.
No. I mean, let alone what you're doing. How do you get through the concussions, the burns, the staples, the V-sex, all of it without pills or booze?
I think first we want to be clear that I don't know, I certainly, and I don't think anybody else, like, never, I don't think any of us ever took pills for pain. Like, painkillers were not for pain. They were just to get fucked up. And doing stunts was not, like, because we were fucked up. Doing stunts was because we're attention whores, you know? Like, you take away the drugs and alcohol, and I'm a sober attention whore. You know? And, like, I don't have a special threshold for pain. I just have a desire for attention that outweighs my desire for comfort.
But as you're lying there, I'm assuming doctors have come up and said, all right, great, let's give him fentanyl, let's give him something, oxy, something to kind of lessen this, what you're going through.
I'll take whatever they give me when I'm in the hospital, and generally that comes through an IV in my vein. But once I leave the hospital, then it's Advil and Tylenol. And I've still, in 15 years of sobriety, I've never filled out a prescription for a painkiller.
But you know what? Like, you opened a whole new door of uncomfortability and pain, because I've done this before, and it was the most awkward I've ever felt was the bike ride. Like when you fight something like that, it is awful. And I mean, how bad was that? Like,
well, yeah. I mean, about halfway through the bucket list, it goes from like kind of lighthearted, like, you know, funny, inappropriate, like wild, like funny stuff, and then it gets into like dangerous, life-threatening.
Like, I can't tell if I'm breathing.
dangerous life-threatening.
And I had a medical professional steal general anesthesia drugs from the hospital and administer them into an IV while I was riding a bicycle. And I mean, like, just by definition, general anesthesia drugs, like, they intubate you because you stop breathing. And, like, here, we're in a fucking field. I wasn't clear on, I never said where it was. I said we went on a little trip, but that happened at Dave England's house. like Dave England has 5 acres of property. And so we did it on there. We actually, like, hired a private ambulance so that if I did need to be intubated, they were there. Yeah. But we didn't tell the ambulance like why they were there. So it was just this mystery. We didn't even tell Dave England what we were gonna do. You know, like
it's plausible deniability, right?
Yeah.
You don't want him getting hemmed up.
Exactly. Yeah. So I was like, hey, we're gonna shoot at your house, like, you cool? And he's like, yeah, come on over, sweet. And I never told him what the plan was. So then when we got there, like, there's a fucking ambulance there, and he's like, what are we doing today? And I was like, oh, it's a general anesthesia bike ride. And his reaction was so fucking funny because he's like, he thought the idea was that he was going to do it, you know, that we were all going to do it. And so he was just like, and he was just preparing himself to say, like, dude, like, I don't know if I'm up for that, you know, but I was like, oh, don't worry, dude, I'm the only one doing it. And like, that was just enough for him. It's like, oh, cool, whew, sweet, you know, never mind that I could be about to die on his property. And I didn't even ask him if that was okay. I mean, what a bro, dude. I love Dave England.
That's a bro, though. If you're willing, like, if your buddy lets you die on his own property, like, that should be the litmus test of whether or not you're actually best friends with that person.
Yeah.
I feel like. But now that you're engaged, is there shit? I know there was shit in the movie, and I don't want to give away all the movie because it was so great. It's one of those things. You watch it, by the way.
You have to buy it.
You have to buy it. Two,
Like,
it's one of those things you could literally give away every single bit because you've never seen it on television before. So I don't want to go too far down to every sketch.
Yeah, I mean, hey, dude, I appreciate that, and I love that you're calling it a movie when it's really like just a multimedia comedy special. But yeah, I went for it as if it was a movie.
Its format was perfect.
Its format was perfect, and it's not multimedia. I mean, it really is everything.
Even
combined.
the way that you set each one up. You tell us what you're going to do with it, and I still wasn't prepared for it when I saw it on camera.
Yeah.
So it's like even then in the format, you're like, all right, this is what you're about. Another person passed out. All right, get him out of here. Yeah. So you're distracting me.
Yeah, that's crazy. The one guy who passes out, like in literally the center of the second row. Like, I was, as soon as that happened, I was like, oh, man, people are going to fucking accuse me of planting, like, somebody to pretend they passed out, like, and just for the record, if I had done that, which I did not and would not ever, I wouldn't have put him in the fucking second row center.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I would have made it more plausible.
I got it because even though I was eating soup, I started to get dizzy during the belly flop just because of how disgusting.
Yeah.
Oh, it was a lot of.
We won't give that one away.
It was a lot of liquid.
It's a small percentage of people who pass out. I mean, I would typically. I would average about 1,000 people per show.
How many people are passing out of those shows?
Sometimes nobody, and we had as many. The record was 11.
Jeez, double digits.
Yeah, but it's like the same people that would pass out if they were watching a knee surgery on TV or some shit, right?
Yes,
for sure.
Yeah. The VSEC is what got me. That's when I had to turn away.
That's when I got hungry.
Yeah, I was eating.
There were times that we didn't have anybody pass out, but on average, we absolutely, if you average it out, we definitely average at least a pass out.
Well, here's the beauty of this shit. You can buy it, have it from stevo.com, and you can bring friends over to watch with you and judge them based on whether they can make it through the fucking. But that's what I'm gonna do.
Typically, if somebody's gonna pass out, like they've got an idea of that.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you're with somebody who might be a passer outer, fucking set up a camera.
Yeah. That should just tag me on Instagram.
And maybe put a helmet on him or something.
Yeah, when I
like
warned the audience about this next video, that's when to set up the camera.
I absolutely love and adore the fact that you are launching this yourself on your website.
Well, thanks, man.
That's why it's like, go buy this, because this is how we keep this stuff alive, is getting the studios out of the fucking way and getting them out of, we'll put this out, but you need to cut all of it. Like, no, fuck you. Like,
and we did this, by the way, on this show. So we actually did an Indiegogo. We raised $1.2 million in 48 hours.
Wow.
We made a movie. We released it on our own. It was the #1 independent film of the year. Keep all the money. You keep everybody else out. Because as we're watching this, Jared called me right after he watched his screener, and he said the exact same thing of like, holy shit, do you know how much money Steve-O's going to make off of this? Like, because it's not going to anybody else, right?
I mean, I got to, like, commission some people, but I mean, we'll see, man. Like, I spent a fuck ton of money making it.
But now it's all going back to where you're not splitting this.
I'll be real happy if I get my money back. I mean, just the opening sequence was over $150,000, and that was a minute and a half of footage.
Yeah, and that was really fucking intense.
Well, thanks.
And that's why it felt like a movie. Like, I mean, you've got all the things in this.
Yeah. Well, so. I one of the things I wanted to ask you, because Chuck Liddell's a good buddy of mine, good buddy of ours actually, and
his show is on our network.
Yeah, so that part where as soon as I saw him in there, and after that scene, I paused and I texted him like, "Hey, I just saw that shit with Steve-O." He goes, "Yeah, he's fucking nuts."
But Chuck Liddell's calling you nuts.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
When my ear's bleeding like crazy, and his first instinct is like, "Oh, heaven forbid this blood should get on Steve-O's shirt," and he puts his hand out to catch the blood, like. That dude, and he's gonna say I'm nuts.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, he. So how long ago did you film that? Because he's.
Yeah, we didn't. He was training for his Tito 3 fight at that time, man. Like all the Chuck Liddell stuff. Maybe? Yeah, it was during 2018. That was like the first shit we did.
Wow. But we asked him, and because he's such a nice guy in real life, like he'll be out here in like 3 weeks.
He really is, man.
He's the nicest guy. But we asked him. We said, "Hey, did you want to continue this? There was so much blood and everything else." And he goes, "No, dude, I didn't want to do it." The way you're able to talk people into doing in this shit is also fucking nuts.
Yeah, I mean, he was down. He was game. We did 2 full days of Chuck Liddell trying to give me cauliflower ear, and
John Jones
it's
too.
A process
John
that
Jones,
can't be
Ronda
rushed.
Rousey.
Yeah, and Jorge Masvidal too.
Yep, Street Jesus was in there. Street Jesus has been on the show before.
Now
too.
the big one, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but this is another part where you might vomit or pass out, is when John Jones gets a hold of that ear. That was fucking gnarly, dude. That was gnarly as fuck.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. Like, I wanted to look at your ear when you came in today.
That's made people pass out too. The John Jones bit.
Yeah.
Definitely.
That was brutal.
I turned away. I couldn't. I turned away for that one. That was too much. I was like, cool, man, I'm going to look the other way for this. But as you continue, I know that you're calling this the bucket list. Does that mean you're going to stop eventually doing these stunts?
I got one more show in me. One more multimedia extravaganza that's going to be called Steve-O's Gone Too Far Tour.
And that's kind of it.
Well,
you're going
are
for
we
broke?
going further than bucket list?
Yeah, the end credits. The end credits is going to be your funeral. Or
I mean, at that point, that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of pushback from my loved ones about my plans for Gone Too Far, and all my reps, like everybody who has access to me is pushing back as hard as they possibly can, and they're just making me more determined to do it. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly, man. Like, it's crazy when like you're an attention whore for a living, and then like you become like middle aged, like actually like getting old. You know, it's just like I say it in the show, like I'm in a messed up situation. I'm Steve-O in my 40s.
Yeah.
And I'm 49. You know, like I'll be 50. So it's like, what does it even look like? You know? and my answer to that is I just got to lean into it and make it about You know, it's about being fucking old.
Well, the good thing is you're not having kids, and you'll be able to see that in this movie, so you don't have to worry about that.
Right.
So it's not like I'm going to leave a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old behind, everything else. So you can still go for it. Obviously, your fiance will be mad, and your parents.
Here's where this gets really dangerous, and this is the equation that we're not talking about right now, is the fact that he has a Lux. We know how fucking gnarly that gets, because I have a Lux.
Yeah. I mean...
And she's dangerous.
Your fiance's dangerous. She let you do most of this shit. Her name is Lux.
Yeah, the bucket list items go in descending order of her approval and support.
That's what's crazy is how much that personality matches my daughter's. I'm like, do it again.
His daughter's name is Lux as
She's
well.
crazy.
Oh, wow.
So both of you guys, LUX.
Holy shit, man, that's crazy.
Same.
Lux's real name is Courtney. And she didn't like to be called Courtney. She just changed her name to Lux.
That's smart. That's smart. Courtney's a white girl's name. I understand it. You know, you want to get away from that.
And she's so fucking awesome, man.
Anybody who's willing to film that shit, yes.
And encourage you. You were right. You chose correctly.
Yeah, dude, she's fucking right.
She just got on the zoom lens during the vasectomy. No, let me get a better shot.
Dude, she was like, to this day, she thanks me. She says the vasectomy was the best gift that she's ever been given.
Like her being able to film it, or just you getting it?
Just me having a vasectomy. So it's like hump and dump all month long, no tripping, no pulling out, just fucking bah.
Yeah.
Bah.
Proud of you. I don't know if my wife's still here. She's asked for that. But
Just
after
raw
watching
dog
your
it.
video, I was like...
I know, but dude, like, you don't have to go bareback horseback riding and then be a human pinata.
Yeah, 4 hours after the surgery.
You don't have to do that. You know, like, plus, it's like when you go to the dentist and you get the one little prick to make it numb. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. You feel that one little tiny prick and then you don't feel anything else.
Okay. One thing that I've noticed about Jackass is it seems like you guys are athletes. Is there an expiration on this? I know you said that special might be the last. Has there anybody who's watched your movie now from your crew, from the Jackass crew, everybody else, and says, hey, dude, I miss doing that. I want to do another Jackass movie?
I mean, we just had a Jackass movie come out last year.
You did.
And, like, that was definitely, like, the last time that we want to see Knoxville, like, get concussed. You know, that, like, I think everybody's sure about that. Like, that brain bleed.
You only have so many of those.
Yeah. So I think Knoxville's tapping out on really risking his life or his brain. And, you know, I'm doing my thing. I'd have trouble picturing another Jackass.
Okay.
But then again, I had trouble picturing the last one. Like, I was so sure the ship had sailed. And then 10 years after, 10 years with no Jackass, and then all of a sudden Knoxville's like, all right, I'm ready. Like, what?
Well, I mean, I think it's the power of kind of my generation who's about to turn 40, who grew up on you guys, and now we're never going to let that go. You guys could release 80 of them.
Yeah.
And we would all be like, another one? Let's go.
Yes, especially with the way Hollywood is butt-fucked comedies. You know what I mean? Like, there's no comedy anymore.
You guys are the last ones left. And,
nothing funny.
Nothing funny. And then the ages you guys span, my 9-year-old is here today because he wanted to meet you. It's the only guest he's ever asked to meet after 3,000 episodes of this fucking show. Loves Jackass. My 70-year-old parents, who are more than likely watching at home, love Jackass. I mean, I sat with them and watched 7 seasons of DVDs when they moved into their house.
Well, it's a family show.
Well, I mean, it really is.
It is.
It kind of is. It is. Like,
because we used to watch the Three Stooges as a family, right?
Yep.
That was fucking comedy, slapstick shit.
America's
You just took it to
Funniest Video.
you took it to another level, obviously.
I'd submit that Jackass is completely wholesome and family values, because like there's no
hate.
There's nothing mean-spirited about it. Like, there's nothing hateful. It's just, like, we go through terrible things and we put each other through terrible things, but we're all willing participants, like, dying for screen time. So it's perfectly permissible to watch us go through what we go through. And we have, like, like true respect for all third parties, and we love each other. Like, it's really just positive vibes, man.
Yeah, that's what I like. I have the same. I told somebody this 4 years ago, I think, about Impractical Jokers. The bits are funny, but the thing that makes it truly enjoyable to watch is how much they enjoy each other's company. And I always felt it was the same with Jack. Like, watching you guys have fun together remind me of the stupid shit he and I used to do when we were in the military back in the day.
I'm going on the Impractical Jokers cruise ship.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
It's called Get Ship Faced. It's Eric Andre.
Oh, God.
Eric Andre and the Impractical Jokers.
So it's going to get weird then.
It's going to get real weird.
Yeah, because he doesn't give a fuck.
Eric Andre is a gnarly dude.
Yeah.
Definitely does not give a fuck.
You don't give a fuck about your own body, apparently, but he doesn't give a fuck about doing weird shit to people in public. I mean, it's like super bizarre.
I had Eric Andre on my podcast, and he was like listing off his favorite drugs. He's like, "Oh, I love to do this drug, and I love to do that drug," and I isolated that as a clip to put on Instagram. And I was like, man, I wonder if this is gonna like bum him out. So I texted it to him. I was like, hey, like, do you care if I put this clip on Instagram? And he goes, that's the least offensive thing I said on my entire press tour. Like, ha ha. Like, he truly does not give a fuck.
Well, to tell you how, we carried the torch for Jackass Baghdad.
Wow.
We at about 1 o'clock in the morning started emptying chem lights into water balloons.
Chem lights, that's like you
the
snap
glow
it,
stick.
yeah. Okay.
So, and then we started launching these balloons at strikers that were about to go on a mission because it made them glow.
Like APCs, yeah.
That's not cool.
Not at all. Oh, we got yelled at a lot because they saw glowing footprints back to our beds when they came up to figure out who was just launching glowing goo at them.
That was an oversight on our part.
Yeah,
but would we do it again? Yes.
Yeah, kind of a gnarly subject change, but like, what the fuck with am I right to assume that Iran, with all the proxy stuff, is just like pulling all the levers just to make it pop off, like full scale?
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They give you the actual answer.
Yeah, like,
but they're not. They don't want that smoke either. Like if you remember 3.5 years ago or so, they were fucking around a little bit, Strait of Hormuz. They were fucking around with our Navy a little bit, and Trump says, "Stop! I'm gonna get wild." And he looks like fucking Ric Flair, right? So you got to trust him when he says that. And then they did it again, and he just murdered their version. Like Soleimani was basically like the chairman of the Joint Chiefs plus their commander of their special forces at the same time. And he just fucking killed him with a switchblade, which is a dope weapon, right?
Yes.
So a switchblade is a fucking Hellfire rocket, but instead of an ordnance on it, instead of a warhead, it's just like a 6-foot-long blade that pops out the front and just stabs you to death.
wow.
Into pieces, right? That's why they found his dick in his hand on the runway.
So
That's true, by the way. It was his dick. Like, he's not making it up. No, that's how
it's real,
they identified him by his penis, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
well, the
epic.
ring on his hand too. But,
So, like, Iran doesn't want that smoke from being at war with the U.S.
Right.
So they're just using their proxy groups, like Hezbollah, which is the most like heavily funded, heavily armed. Like, I mean, that Hezbollah is like a legit, like.
It's a legit transnational terror organization. So when we disrupted their flow of money supply back in the day, they made deals with the South American narco terrorists, the cartels. They work together there, which is one of the things that makes this southern border issue even more problematic, right? That we know we have a bunch of fucking Islamic terrorists over there. Yeah.
Cocksuckers coming through there.
Yeah.
Like, all of the, like, is what happens if Hezbollah and Hamas get together? Like, aren't they kind of like.
They're essentially the same. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
trained and funded by Iran both, so.
Right, and heavily funded to the tune of like tens of billions per year. Right? Fuck, man. And so Iran doesn't want that smoke, but they're just like poking around. And so now they got Yemen fucking fully at war with
Houthi,
Israel.
Well, the thing is they're always going to poke because, and I can guarantee Iran's biggest fear is that we would delete their air force in 20 minutes. So like they would have nothing. Like no, and the key to any of all this is your air power. Like, and they know if they truly shoved us and we went, okay, we're done. No more airplanes for Iran. And how long does it take for you to rebuild that? I mean, Iran's using F-14 Delta models, Tomcats from Top Gun 1.
Yeah, that's from in 1983, I think.
Like we retired that airplane in the year 2005. So they've run out. We've starved them of parts because their best airplanes are our ones that we got rid of in 2005. So they're already hurting. So I think that would be a very, very concerning thing on their mind of if we poke too far, America pushes a button and we no longer have air.
They're not trying to provoke a conflict with us. What they're trying to do...
Right. They're just trying to widen the conflict around it. So get your men in there. Get fucking Jordan, Syria. Get it to spread around the region and without they themselves being at war with us.
Yeah, they want to primarily, this is my opinion, but I think it's true, they primarily want to get Israel to overreact. Right, and give them fodder to say, hey, all the rest of you Muslim countries that were involved in these Abraham Accords before, Jordan, Bahrain, Kuwait, UAE, and then Saudi Arabia, hey, you can't be on their side. Look what they've done to our people or whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That's the plan.
I mean, it seems like the overreacting piece kind of came together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Predictably, yeah.
Now, let me get this right. When there is a terror threat, right, the U.S. government isn't gonna step up to the podium. The fact that the Congress and the FBI just said it's very likely that we're gonna have terrorist attacks on American soil, that's over the top crazy, right? Because when there are legitimate terrorist attacks, they're not gonna say it.
Right.
So for them to actually say it, it's beyond fucking red alert. It's white hot core, fucking alert, right?
Well, we got close this weekend. I don't know if you saw the footage this weekend in New York City with them tearing down American flags and everything else, dumping blood on police officers or paint or whatever it was.
Yeah, but that's not an attack.
That's more it's protesting.
It's not, right? But that's how
it's protesting
starts.
until I show up and you're throwing my flag on the ground and I split your fucking head open, right?
Right, and it just depends on who's where at the right time. You go back to Westlake Village in L.A., which I'm sure you know, it's one of the richest parts of Los Angeles. Why would there be a protest there out in front of a Whole Foods and a death? And that guy got clubbed to death with a megaphone?
Yeah. Well, I mean, isn't tomorrow, they start the pro-Israel stuff all in Washington State or Washington D.C.
Yeah.
So that's gonna. Who knows what's gonna happen?
It's just such scary times, man.
It is, but we need laughter. And thank God you got a fucking movie out because all the images we're seeing on Twitter and everything else, I haven't seen shit like this. Even in Ukraine, Russia, we never saw kids being blown up and all that other stuff. We're seeing it every single day in this war, which is man, if you're Hollywood, please start pumping out comedies at a time like this. Because we're seeing serious shit every goddamn second of the day on the news. That's why guys like you are invaluable right now during this time. And that's why I think your movie's going to crush. Also, you're coming off back-to-back strikes. You're the only person with anything coming out right now.
Yeah, you're the only new thing
Wow.
right now. You timed this perfectly.
I mean, yeah, it almost seems like it was on purpose, and that was going to be my next question.
Did you start this? Are you in Hamas?
Yeah.
Just out of Steve-O.
Steve-O goes Hamas. That's the next catch.
I did see a funny video on Instagram earlier. It was Real Housewives Hamas.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
The audience is asking for you to talk about Manny.
Talk about Manny?
Yeah. There's been 8 different questions. I keep peeking in. They want to hear about Manny.
What was
how
the
cool
story
was he?
with Manny? Yeah, was he real? Was he a real guy and an actor?
Oh, dude, he's unbelievably real.
Okay.
He's the most genuinely fucking real dude ever. And the first season of Jackass, I wrote a bit which came from my buddy Danny Way. And the way Danny Way wrote the bit, I mean, Danny Way suggested it. He says, dude, shark hugging. He said,
say no more.
Wait, didn't Manny make a video of this?
Oh, yeah. I mean, dude, a million different ways. But before we ever met Manny, before we ever even heard of him, Danny Way, who's the skateboarder, jumped the Great Wall of China. He's like, dude, Steve-O, shark hugging. He's like, you catch a blue shark, and while it's on the line, you reel it in, and then fucking you jump in the water and hug it, And I mean, crazy because the blue shark is it's small, it's thin, it's like it can like really turn, like it's so fast and it's so fucking aggressive too, like. And if it were to be like on a line with the hook, then that would just be a bummer, you know. Like, but I liked the idea, and I passed it on to Jeff Tremaine. And the way that we filmed it, they found a tourist operation in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, where they would just take tourists to swim with nurse sharks, and. It was like nurse sharks are super docile, like super mellow. They had like thousands of families with their babies, like swimming with nurse sharks. But like we're gonna make it like the bit is for us that we're gonna like, you know, like hug the nurse shark, and like really we fully like dry humped like the nurse sharks. But like before we went down, the guy in charge of the tourist operation, he was like, "Well, you want to watch out for your hand." You know, motion, don't wave your hands. And then he cut to the footage. I'm down there. They didn't even show it on MTV. But I'm just waving my hands in front of the shark, like exactly the way he said not to. And the nurse shark fucking whop, like bites my finger. And it's like all shredded and I'm like bleeding everywhere. And I'm like, I got bitten by the fucking shark. And when we got back on the boat, the guy in charge of the operation said to Jeff Tremaine, like, dude, you cannot fucking. He's like, if you show that, I'm gonna lose my whole business. You know, like you just can't. Like we're a fucking tourist thing. Like this fucking ass, thousands of people. This is the first asshole to get bitten. And you know, Tremaine was like, okay, cool, we won't show that. And Tremaine thought that he'd maybe turn around and show it anyway. But, like, he related that, and they were like, dude, that's a verbal contract. Like, you can't. So I'm like, I got bit by a fucking shark for nothing? Like, what the fuck? I was pissed. And so they knew that moving forward, we wanted to film with more sharks, and they needed to figure out a way to not have pussies say you can't show that. And then Pontius and Tremaine were watching Animal Planet, and they see Manny. Manny had a show on Animal Planet. And, like, Manny's in the fucking swamp, like, lifting alligators fucking out of the swamp, like, with his bare hands fucking, like, at night, and doing it all while wearing a Speedo. You know? Like, he's riding sharks, literally riding sharks. Just grab the dorsal fin of, like, great hammerhead sharks, and he's just surfing around underwater, like, and wearing a Speedo. And Tremaine and Pontius, they were like, yeah, it was the Speedo that won us over, you know? So we met up with Manny for the very first time while we were filming the second season of Jackass. The first bit that I filmed with him was snorting the earthworm up my nose. And he just,
yeah.
Manny couldn't even believe that. He was just like, this is the dumbest fucking funniest shit I've ever even fucking heard of. And like, he fell in love with us right away. I remember that day too, we were playing with alligators in the Everglades, like all day basically. And when we first met up with Manny, this is the second season. The first season was already out. We were on MTV. We were a big hit, and we're standing around in the parking lot, and this family is coming to like see alligators, you know, in the wild, whatever. It's like a whole family, and you see this big reaction. They're like walking towards me in Knoxville, and Knoxville's like kind of like proud. He's like, you know, like getting ready to be like, yeah, and they just blow right past Knoxville. They're like, Manny, and that was when we realized, wow, Manny really has a profile. Like he's a fucking big legend and a star down in Florida there. And he's never cared.
Well, he's like Steve Irwin, but for pieces of shit.
Yeah. And I thought it could have been actor because he looks the part of everything you would want in that. And I was like, well, maybe they just cast him and he's just kind of as crazy as you are, but knows a little bit about animals. And then as the seasons went on, I was like, oh, shit, maybe it's a real dude. But the fact that you guys never tipped one way or the other also lent him to be a great character in your show.
Yeah, I mean, dude, he's the best. And I remember too, we went out to try to ride great hammerhead sharks with me.
Jesus Christ, dude.
And like,
the fuck?
We're like, this the morning after I got my butt cheeks pierced together. So I've got
Remember that one?
we're like all hungover, like basically Pontius and I are like in G-strings, like sleeping on the boat, like while Manny is out there in the water, treading water, just hacking up barracuda in the water with a big knife, just chumming.
God damn.
Like he's just treading water and chumming, hacking up barracuda, you know, to try to attract sharks. And like the idea is when Manny screams like shark, like we jump off the boat to get in the water, you know, which is so awesome. And I remember it was hours and hours, dude. It just wasn't working. It's just Manny was treading fucking water for hours, hacking up barracuda. And at some point, because I knew that he was famous, I'd seen people react to him like that. He had a show on Animal Planet. And I said to Tremaine, I was like, God, today must be an expensive day. You got this fucking famous fucking Tarzan guy treading water for hours, fucking just hacking up barracuda. And Tremaine's like, yeah, no, not expensive, isn't, you know? And I was like, oh, isn't he like really expensive? And he goes, no, like, he's doing what he loves. I mean, that's Tremaine, like, that's Tremaine. Like, he's doing what he loves. We're letting him. We're giving him the opportunity to fucking be out there doing what he loves. And like
$40.
Yeah, like who knows, you know? And not only is Manny like that legit and that real, but like, you know, he just not like he's never. You know, there's never been anybody really looking out for him. You know, so like. He just lives a really, really fucking simple life, man. He sells spears, he sells knives, like, and like he needs to sell spears and knives to survive, you know. Like nobody ever was looking out for him, and he was in. And the other thing, he's probably happier than than your rich, greedy Jeff Tremaine. Like I'd say Manny's probably the happier person, but I just wish that people were looking out for him better, and I wish that people treated him better in business.
And now, are you saying that Tremaine was rich and greedy?
Yeah. Yeah. He's rich because he's greedy, you know?
Well, there was.
Well, can we buy Manny spears?
I think you can.
Because now I want one.
Yeah, I mean, if you look up Manny on Instagram, like send him a DM, and I've got like not only spears, fucking tridents.
Oh, I need a trident
Dude,
for Manny.
His tridents are the scariest fucking things. Yeah, there he is, right
I'm
there.
in on this.
He doesn't have a website that I can tell.
He doesn't have a website.
He has a
but
landline.
If you DM him, like right there, he's whatever that is. Yeah, it's a knife. He's showing you how he makes knives. His tridents are fucking epic.
Oh shit! Yeah, there's one. There's one a couple down from there.
Oh god, those are beautiful.
Yeah, right there in the middle.
Yeah, look at that, dude. I got those things are the tip of those points.
I'm calling Luttrell this afternoon because he's gonna want one.
Yeah, and dude, look at like he hand engraves everything. He files it all down. Like I mean.
Put a bone frog on there?
Yep. Like, he will go out there and fucking hunt a wild boar with his trident, and, like, it's all...
Isn't that how the king died in the first season of Game of Thrones?
Oh, look at that little baby one.
Look at that.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's like a fish spear.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he'll be down there fucking spearing his own shit.
We need to
man.
order these. We have to have
I'm
one.
definitely getting some.
I have to have one for the bar. Like
That's
For
wild.
sure.
If you don't mind, I would like to go back to that Tremaine comment real quick. Hang on.
Yeah.
And here's why.
I
So
don't think,
I've gone deep into the DVDs.
There's nothing even remotely controversial about calling Tremaine a fat, greedy, rich, terrible person.
You added fat and terrible this time.
You sure did to Jeff Tremaine.
And I added that without controversy.
Well, here's why I ask. Again, I've gone through all the DVDs. I've gone through everything you guys have done. We're all huge fans
dope.
here. But one of the bonuses on a DVD was a behind the scenes where they interviewed the entire cast, but you guys were broken up into twos. So I don't know if you remember this, but it was Tremaine in Knoxville. It was you and Pontius. England and...
Danger Aaron.
Yep.
Danger Aaron. God,
Correct.
I love that guy.
Also known as who? I'm just kidding, Danger.
No, Aaron was a big skateboarding filmer, and then became...
Danger Aaron? No, you're thinking of Whitey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Whitey is a documentary filmmaker.
Right. So here's where I'm going with this. When they go to you guys, they were asking Danger Aaron, those guys, about money. And they were like, how did everything work out? And he goes, we didn't make that much money. And they seem pissed off about it, right? And they cut to Tremaine in Knoxville. And both of them at the same time go, I don't know. I think it worked pretty goddamn well for us. And there was a huge laugh, like the Tremaine greed laugh out of him. And I was like, oh, fuck. Did it really go down like that? And how did the pay shake out to where everybody was saying this about him?
I mean, I can sum it up like pretty simple. They're like Rick Cossack, the camera guy, while we were filming the TV show for MTV, and they just fucking worked everybody like fucking dogs. Then Rick Cossack comes up to Jeff Tremaine and he says, Jeff, dude, I just worked 14 straight hours in one day filming a national television show and earned less than I would have made if I shot a single photo for a skateboard magazine. And Tremaine goes, then go shoot a skate ad. Yeah, shot an ad for his, go shoot a skate ad. Just like whatever. And I think that like kind of largely motivated me to be overly generous with people who work for me, and like to a fault, where like my overhead is like pretty fucking astronomical, and like I've proven to be really good at making a lot of money and very bad at holding on to it. And now I'm like gonna overcorrect and become Jeff Tremaine. Like 100%, like 100%, because now I've got like, oh my God, like I'm gonna be the fucking guy who made millions of dollars and lost it all and is just fucking struggling and broke. Like I'm gonna turn into Jeff Tremaine. I'm calling it right now.
Yeah, because you don't want to be in a one bedroom in Van Nuys.
I finally get it.
We can go rob a bank right now if you want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What's
we can go
that?
out there and do it.
That'll be on bucket list too.
Yeah.
Steve-O
robs a bank with two veterans.
And then you get away with it and be like, oh, it's for the show.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm not tripping. I just like, like seeing how Jeff Tremaine operates. I mean, the dude, fucking, like his like effectively partner, Shauna, who's like, I consider her like surrogate mom of Jackass, which is like kind of a mean thing to say because she's not like an old lady or anything. Shauna, she's like, dude, I got the funniest story. I get a call from Gerard Carmichael, the comedian with the Carmichael show on HBO. He calls up and he's like, hey, I'm just calling to check on Tremaine. Like, is he okay? Because like, I got on a plane and like he walked right past me, like to the back of the plane, like in coach. And I just figured like, I figured that there must have been some crazy emergency and he had to book the flight last minute, and that's all the seats were left. And Shauna's like, no, that's how he does it. Like, fucking cheap ass. Like, motherfucker.
Wow.
And I'm right there with him now, too, because I now, like, I'm fucking bummed that I got all used to flying first class. I never even looked at the difference in the cost between first and coach. Now that I put it, I tell my team, I ask my team to show me, like, what's the price of a coach ticket and then what's the price of a first class ticket. And now every time I'm like, fuck first class, dude. I'm just sitting back and coach with Tremaine. So again, I now understand where he's coming from.
I got some questions for you about the Gumball Rally.
Okay.
A buddy of mine who helped us out on Range 15 in a ton of movies, a friend of mine, Ivan Victor, was the one who directed that, and he edited most of your episodes on Jackass. He said that Gumball
I remember
Rally.
Ivan's a British guy.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Curly hair.
Sure.
Yeah.
No pussy.
No.
Yeah, I mean, in the sweetest way, I mean that. Like, he's just a real, like, just soft, sweet guy.
Nicest guy on the planet.
Yeah.
And he said, being out with you guys overseas, because how long was that race? 60 hours or?
I mean, it was about 5 days. We raced through some, like, 13 countries in 5 days, making a gigantic circle from England to Russia and back.
Okay. Now here's where I'm going with this. There's a crazy story that. Do you give a shit about anything?
Oh, I don't give a fuck. What, the jack-off contest?
Yes.
Yeah. What do I care?
He told me about the jack-off contest. I was like, look, I cannot say that on air. I was like, when he comes on the show, I'll ask him if it's okay. But
dude, I'm calling Ivan a pussy. I mean, we pulled out of, like I said, it was from London, England to Russia and back in a big circle. And the race began at Marble Arch in which is like central London. London's notorious for having these double-decker buses everywhere. We're in the back seat of this little Jaguar. Knoxville was riding shotgun up front. Pontius and I are sitting next to each other in the back seat. And I don't know if it was predetermined or if we just came up with it on the spot. But we were like, okay, if we're going to be in the car for the next 5 days, let's make it interesting. We'll have a contest to see who can actually blow the most loads in the car.
So it's the opposite of the Seinfeld thing.
Yeah. Right? You guys were side by side.
Well, right. The rule was the car had to be both full of dudes and in motion for the load to count as a point. And so and in the beginning, the race starts and we're gung ho. We're just giggling and tugging and just but everybody was wide awake, and the double-decker buses are just people on this top deck are just looking straight down at us, jacking off next to us in traffic. And we're not even getting boners, but we're just we think it's so funny. We're just giggling and tugging. I ended up really rubbing my wiener very raw. I think I might have even ended up with scabs from just but it just wasn't happening. And we were tugging and tugging. Finally just gave up. But then in the dark of the night, I think Pontius fell asleep to my right. The driver's looking forward, and Knoxville was in the seat directly in front of me. Maybe Knoxville's even asleep. I finally got it to work. And when it finally worked, I was just, from all the effort and all the, I was just backed. It was like I had taken a super soaker and just pumped it and pumped it and pumped it and pumped it, and when I finally blasted, it was I blasted it right into the window, across the whole window, and then it just all, and I go to Knoxville, I think I woke him up even, yo, Knoxville, grab the camera, film this, and it's got a light and everything. Knoxville films the window, and he goes, "Hey, Steve-O, what's that on the window?" And pans to me, and I go, "I don't know." Because we didn't show me actually jacking off. We only just showed the semen on the window.
Yeah, you could
what's
show
that?
cum.
We were sure that would make the cut. You got to be come on. We didn't even show anything. It's just something on the window. It could have been anything. Pan to me, we're I don't know. And then very quickly, Knoxville started riding in a different car. Knoxville was replaced by Dimitri. and it was "Hey, Pontius, what's that on your race suit?" And Pontius goes, "I don't know." It was we wanted to be a running gag, but we were tied 4 loads apiece. So nobody won. It was a tie.
Who were the two top?
Oh, it was only me and Pontius.
Him and Pontius.
Okay, yeah.
Knoxville quit.
Look.
Knoxville never jacked off in the
and you got him to quit.
Yeah. It was only Pontius and I that were ever even competing, and it was a tie at 4 loads apiece.
Okay. Now, it was just based on loads, or was it based on total volume? You know what I mean?
No, it was just loads.
Okay.
Just completions.
Smart. You don't want to weigh that. You don't have that much time.
Yeah.
No, you got plenty of time. You're in a car for 5 fucking days.
Yeah,
But you need an apparatus.
But you guys were going 90 miles an hour. I mean, they're in a race, too.
It was how many completions. You got a point for a load. And we were just outraged. Not only is it perfectly fine to call out the jack-off contest, we were furious that it wasn't included in the show. We worked our ass off for those 4 points apiece.
Well, I don't want to spoil anything, but you may have made up for it.
Yeah. We're not going to say, but check out Steve-O's bucket list.
Get on
Definitely
Steve-O.com and buy that movie.
Sure do.
And seriously, show it to all your friends too, but make them pay.
Yes,
Yeah,
make them pay.
obviously.
Yeah, make them pay.
Yeah.
It's not a Netflix. Don't share the fucking password. Last question here. Bo from the chat is asking for you to tell the story about you meeting the Wu-Tang Clan, which is a story I don't know, I don't think.
I mean, this one is I made a video on my YouTube channel called being threatened by the Wu-Tang, like the Wu-Tang, like it was. I got very good at doing standing backflips when I was younger. I immediately started doing simultaneous fire-breathing standing backflips. I was like pretty acrobatic. And I also had another trick where with no hands, I would flip my wiener and my balls back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And then on the backswing, I would jump up and catch everything in a mangina. I called the trick a double back. So at one point, I thought, well, I wonder if I could do a double back flip, meaning tucked mangina position, and with the mangina tucked, do a back flip, like just being tucked the whole time. And that like kind of compromises your flipping ability, you know, like. And I honestly, when I first tried it, I thought I was going to rip my dick off, like. But I did it. I did it successfully, and I was just like, it was a really rad trick. I don't know that anybody in the world, other than me, has ever done a double back flip. You know,
with your penis and balls tucked between your legs.
yeah.
Yes.
It's. I mean, you could call it a mangina backflip.
Yes.
So it was like the first time I ever did it. I think was like on the set of Jackass #2, and somehow that didn't make the fucking cut either. I don't get it. But I was like, that was my new trick, and I was excited about it. And then there was this Wu-Tang concert at the Rock the Bells Festival. And ODB had sadly already passed, and they were going to have an ODB tribute. And so I was like, I had a camera guy with me, and I was like just stoked, and I was like, dude, I saw Method Man and RZA. They were in an interview, and I charged into their interview, and I was like, dudes, let's do it, man. I'm ready to pay tribute to ODB by getting butt-ass, dirty, naked, and I'm going to flip my balls and mangina backflip. And RZA's face when I'm explaining that, it's all on camera, by the way. It's all on camera on my YouTube channel. RZA's face when I'm saying this is just, you know, and like Method Man is finding it funny. And then like, so that's the plan. They're going to bring me out and I'm going to do it during the ODB tribute. Then all of a sudden Method's man, hey man, like maybe not a good idea, dude. Like they might kick your ass. And I remember my reaction was like, oh dude, Dirty would love that. Dude, let him, great. You know, and I'm all drunk. And so then on stage when it happens, Dirty's mom is on the stage.
Oh no.
And like, I just went for him. Like, yeah, you know, I'm like rambling about how like I was in protective custody in Los Angeles County Jail, and they told me that I was in Dirty's cell, that he was always in there, and I'm like, so I was practically cellmates with ODB, and this, I'm just drunk and rambling, and I get butt naked, I do my thing. It was actually one of the cleaner standing mangina backflips that I ever did. But, you know, and everybody was just shocked and kind of like laughing. I was just like, wow, this is crazy, you know. And then they go into like shimmy ya and everyone's just hanging out. And, like, it's just like fun. About a song goes by and Raekwon just finally he's just too mad. It's like, stop. Raekwon just stops everything. It just stops. He just grabs me by the neck and just brings me up to the front of the stage. Raekwon's like, I didn't appreciate that. You know, like my brother's not here to defend himself from that.
Holy
Like,
shit.
you're gonna apologize or I'm gonna knock you out. And there's got to be like, it's the Rock the Bells festival. Like, and there massive. There had to have been like, I don't know if it was 60,000, like, it was a lot of thousands of people. And like, he's got me by the neck. Like, I'm going to knock you out straight up. I'm going to jail. I don't care. Like, and I'm just like, I'm sorry. It's like, you know, it was a pretty intense moment.
And you're buck naked still?
No, I had gotten dressed. And I'm like, I'm sorry. And he goes, all right, well, you're going to apologize to ODB's mom. And then, like, you know, I apologized to her, too. And then security was like, it's time for you to go.
You got to get the fuck out of here.
You're not safe. Yeah, it was it was not a moment in which I looked really cool. But it was definitely a wild story.
But whenever you're doing what you do, that's the risk, right? Like, you know, 8 out of 10 will probably work. There's going to be 2 that aren't successful, and fuck it. At the end of the day,
we need to officially call that the MIG-BEF, the mangina backflip.
I mean, like, and Method Man, I think, said it best. He's like, you know, Method Man was like, I thought it was fun. I thought it was funny. But, like, in hindsight, like, with ODB's mom there, like, that was really the, you know, like, the thing that made the difference. And RZA was like, hey, man, like, that's your art, dude. You know, like, everybody approaches their art in a different way. I certainly didn't mean to, like I'm, you know, like I said, like, Jackass is not supposed to be mean-spirited, you know? Like, it's a pretty wholesome and good vibe. And I'm never out to, like, really do harm or offend people, you know? Like, so
no.
that wasn't, like, why I did it or anything. And to the extent that Raekwon did not appreciate that, and to this day still does not appreciate, like, he wanted to hold on to the grudge. Like, I'm fine with that. Like, I just maintain that I was... It came from a good place.
Raekwon the chef. And I think that's why a lot of listeners ask the questions they do, because I think a lot of people can't determine whether or not it's real or not, right? So whether it's...
that was very, very real.
So it's whether or not they're in on the bit, you're in on the bits.
Yeah, there was no... Like, I mean, dude, you're going to try and get... I guess. Like, it really is a question of whether... this Drewski guy and Birdman,
yes,
the Cash Money guy, like, if there's like a bit going on there, like, that really, really loses gangster points for Birdman if he's in on faking some fucking thing like that. And I saw that surveillance footage.
So did I. Over the weekend.
I thought, like, with the way that the Drewski guy's like, go, it just felt really fake.
Felt staged.
It felt very
Because if it wasn't, then Birdman gets arrested, and I think that's the line that is blurred with everybody and what you do and what that guy does, and
that's the thing. It's like, it's okay to do sketch comedy that's acting if you present it as sketch comedy that's acting. What's not okay is to deceive the audience. I don't give a fuck if it's a bit. You don't deceive the audience, because if you do that once, then everything you've ever done comes into question. And I remember when I started my YouTube channel in 2013, I started with some prolific... Pranks were huge at that time, and I collaborated with these huge prank channels.
Oh yeah, prank channels are a whole sub demo.
Oh yeah,
the prank channels were huge at that time, and what collaborating means is that you film videos, like, on each other's channels. And so I'm with these guys, and they're like, they even did me the solid of, I was on their channels, and they just drove all the traffic to mine, and they weren't even on my channel. They were just stoked. But we're trying to figure out what's the videos that we're gonna make, and we're, like, kind of brainstorming back and forth. And these guys are like, oh, well, we could just fake it, you know, we could just set it up, like. And I was just like, what? Like,
so that's what it takes to get Steve-O to clutch his pearls.
I was like, what? You know, like, they were just, like, so nonchalant about it, too. They're like, oh, yeah, dude, it doesn't have to be real. We'll just set it up. And I was like, look, dude, it's like, if I fucking fake anything ever, then my entire body of work comes into question. Like, there's no fucking way. And sure enough,
a lot of those channels have died because of it.
The whole fucking genre died because these fucking guys got called out for faking their shit, and then now, like, that's it. It's a wrap.
Yeah,
you know, like
and
exactly
then they were
what I
going
was
too
saying.
far to where it just got uncomfortable. You're like bullying and pestering people.
Yeah.
And then a guy got shot about a month ago.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, I didn't care about a guy getting shot. I just know that exactly what I was talking about was the downfall of that whole fucking thing. You know?
No, this was more recent, like a month ago. A new prankster took it too far to a delivery guy, and the delivery
that's
guy
the
shot
other
him.
thing, too, is that, like, to the extent that pranks are still going on YouTube, they're fucking missing the plot, dude. Like, they're missing the plot because what they're doing is mean-spirited.
Yeah, the point, like, the brunt of the joke should always be directed back at yourself.
100%.
You know what I mean? That's the whole point.
100%. I mean, it's okay. Like, see, for example, when Knoxville had the fake baby in the thing, you know?
I think you're going to go with the hand.
That was all internal, though. That was all against each other.
That's you know, us.
You couldn't set that up in public,
That's
obviously.
us on us.
Yeah.
You know, as far as like hidden camera, man on the street, like fucking, you know, third party, unsuspecting people being pranked. Like, take the fake baby where Knoxville, like, has the baby carrier, puts the baby on the roof of the car, and then, like, forgets the baby on the roof of the car, and then drives off. And so people see a baby on the car as it's pulling out of the parking lot, and they're freaking out, like, ah! You know, that's not necessarily nice, you know? Like, you're certainly filming people reacting, like, in terror, and they're shocked. But, like, immediately let them know that it was a joke. They're like, okay, that's cool. And you haven't done anything to make them, like, feel bad or look bad. It's not mean. It's just, that was crazy, you know? Whereas, like, these people doing pranks on YouTube now are, like, aggressively being mean and making people feel bad and, like, doing harm. So, like, I don't know about the guy who got shot, but I got to believe that it's because he was trying to make somebody feel bad in a bad spirit.
I don't know. You got it. You nailed it.
Yeah.
He was an unsuspecting delivery driver, and he just starts pestering him, and the guy, you know, knows that in the
Was
time...
it the pranker that got shot?
Yeah, the pranker,
Okay, well,
yeah.
Occupational hazard, right?
Exactly.
I get. I mean, dude, there's some, like, aggressive shit, you know? And I mean, the line gets blurry. Like, nobody's mad at the one guy with the do you even lift?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I think that that's a guy who got called out for fake pranks. And I think that it's a shame because the do you even lift stuff read pretty real. I think that came in, like, before he started faking everything.
Yeah. Last question here from the audience, and I know you're busy and you're promoting the movie everywhere. We'll let you get out of here. Is Ryan Dunn? They're asking about Ryan Dunn. Obviously, we all loved Ryan Dunn. He was a massive, massive part of the show. The strange thing about him is he left on a high note. Like, it was, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything was still going. Everything was as high as it was going, and then boom, he was gone.
I mean, dude, it's rare that you hear somebody take that position.
Me personally,
Yeah, and I a year ago, roughly a year ago, I put out my second book, and I had a whole chapter, like, on death, and, like, the thrust of the chapter was, like, don't be afraid of dying, be afraid of living.
Not living.
Yeah, like, I mean,
What do they say?
Like, death is pretty fucking easy, you know? Like, maybe dying can be tough, but, like, once you're dead, like, let's be clear. Like, whenever somebody loses a loved one, I always implore them to grieve selfishly. Grieve selfishly because of your loss. Do not grieve for the person you've lost because they're okay.
Yeah, their problems are over.
They're fucking fine.
Yeah.
They're good.
Yeah.
They're good. And if you're grieving for the person as if like being dead is something to feel bad for someone, then I think you are like disrespecting that loved one. I think that to the extent that you can grieve selfishly and appropriately for your own loss, like that, do it. Be selfish about it. Be quick about it, because you got to think about your loved one. What do they want for you? Because they love you, they want you to be happy and healthy and have a good life. They don't want you to fucking dwell in a morass of fucking sorrow, and because that's not what they want for you. They want you to fucking be happy, like honor their memory by fucking dealing with it and moving on. And so the idea of feeling sorry for Dunn is silly. It's silly. Like, grieve for his loved ones and their loss, sure. And you said it best, dude. Like, I go into it in that second book. It's called A Hard Kick in the Nuts. I said I was straight up jealous. Like, a big part of me was like, fuck, man. He went out on top. Shit was still popping. Never had any like financial distress. Like, never like deteriorated. Like, or never like ended up in any like desperate fucking compromising
or
like
the relationship
the dignity.
issues.
You never like so many
everybody.
people like in like as they get older. I mean, if you look at like. There's a documentary about Buster Keaton. There's a documentary called Stan and Ollie about Laurel and Hardy. Like, there's a documentary, or a biopic about Judy Garland. Like
Houdini.
Yeah, there are so many people who are famous in the entertainment industry and outlived their success, outlived their savings, ended up like in grave financial distress, doing desperate shit for money, like where they lose their legacy, they lose their dignity, they literally like end up in miserable situations, and that's not something that Ryan Dunn ever had to worry about.
Yeah, and the reason I bring it up, there was a famous rapper who I'll not name in this show who told me about 10 years ago. He said, look, regarding Kanye, and this is before the shit that he's gotten into the last couple of years, he goes, I think the best thing that could happen to him right now is that he would die. And he would live as this entertainment legend and hero and all that other stuff forever.
10 years ago?
10 years ago. And I was shocked to hear it because I was like, why? And
Back
he goes,
then, yeah. You're like,
yeah,
whoa.
and he goes, I don't think you understand. Like, he's dealing with some own personal shit and everything else. And I was like, all right, but it was interesting to think of because then it parlayed into, like, my favorite dude was Kobe. Growing up in Los Angeles, or I came to Los Angeles when he was there. When Kobe died, because he looked exactly like Kobe, because he looked identical and he was doing these great interviews and everything else, and he dropped 60 in his last game, the last memory we have of him is being great. There was no shitty memory of Kobe Bryant.
Right.
And it's the same thing with Ryan Dunn, where I don't have a bad memory of Ryan Dunn, where, with Bam right now and what he's going through, it would be tragic where you're like, shit, man, I wish I didn't see that because I remember him from everything else.
100%. 100%. And going back to what I said in that book, I had a debate that I remember well. Jeff Tremaine doesn't even remember it at all. But many years ago, we were debating over who you would rather be. ODB, who died in the studio rapping,
Highest of his career, top of his career.
Fucking, or would you rather be Flava Flav, who, bless his heart, but like, the flavor of love, like, was, it was like, I had like, and I've gone on to become like buddies with Flava Flav, and I don't want to disparage him at all. I'll just say at the time, like, it was a question of just, in my view, legacy, and like having ODB's legacy
preserved,
and like I just felt at the time that Flavor of Love was like kind of like not legacy work for Flavor Flav. And I was strongly arguing that I would rather be ODB. Never suffered, you know, never suffered, was rapping in the studio, and you know, and Jeff Tremaine took a hard stance the opposite way. He said, you'd rather be fucking dead from a cocaine explosion in your stomach and you're dead, like it's over, as opposed to be Flavor Flav and still alive, still spreading joy and alive.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, like for me, it's a complete no-brainer.
I know.
You know?
I mean, we live in the same world in that one.
Yeah,
for
complete
sure.
fucking no-brainer. And you know, then again, like every piece of shit murderer, it matters so much to them to get the death penalty off the table.
Yeah, right.
You can lower people's quality of life to the point where there's nothing fucking valuable about it, like objectively speaking, and every human will just cling on to it.
I agree, dude. It's like, hey, no, bring that up. Like, guilty. Go ahead and put the death penalty in. Let's move it up. I don't want to be in here more than 2 weeks.
Objectively, like especially when you think about the death penalty, like what a peaceful, painless, fucking
Controlled everything.
You're diped up. You got a diaper on.
It's going down for knee surgery without the pesky part of waking up sore.
No rehab.
Yeah, like literally, like. I get so hot over the death penalty. Like, it costs so much more to execute a motherfucker than just let them live out their natural life
Agreed.
in prison.
Yep.
The world's full of people who are terminally ill who would beg for the peaceful death that these fucking lethal injection people get.
Yeah.
And it's not legal to euthanize people, so they fucking have to suffer. They have like the worst, and they didn't even do anything wrong. They're good people suffering terminal illness. And the fucking cakewalk, easy death, but heaven forbid the murderer.
Yeah, lives at 88 years old in a fucking cell, and you're like, oh, great, let's make sure he's fine for 88 years. Yeah.
I mean, it's all just very weird. But yeah, man, everybody, my bucket list special, dude, join me in saying fuck the man, fuck the censorship, fuck the community guidelines, fuck it all. And support what is the most reckless, filthiest, dangerous, fucking
all of that is
pure piece of entertainment and comedy you will get this year. I can promise you that. It's available at stevo.com. Last thing we do here on this show is Drinkin' Bro of the Week. Who is someone who has inspired you or helped you become the person you are today? By the way, I know you're sober. Jared actually created this group called Drinkin' Bros, and the show itself to never drink alone, and it is not booze. It could be water. Just don't kill yourself. It was created for veterans who were losing their lives to 22 a day. So who would you like to give the Drinkin' Bro of the Week to?
I'd say give it to my boy Isaac, who I came here with.
Right there.
He looks mildly retarded. Is there something wrong with him? Is there something wrong with Isaac? Or is he slumped over in a chair like Stephen Hawking? Is he all right? Is Isaac okay? That's a real person? Okay.
Yeah, he's good, man. That's my executive assistant. I trust him implicitly. I trust him completely. And I lean on him much.
Okay.
Well, if you keep doing these stunts, it's going to be more.
Yeah. Or he might be carrying out of this life.
Put you in a little baby Bjorn in the front there.
We're both bum knee pussies now too. He just got out of knee surgery, and I'm going into knee surgery.
And that's why he's all slumped over like Hawking. All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, man.
The movie is called Steve-O's Bucket List. It is out tomorrow. Can't recommend it enough. We all lost our shit watching it. We're all huge fans. Thank you not only for being here, but the years and years of laughter you've provided, not only us, but everyone. It truly spans from 10 to 80. Whether or not you know that or not, hopefully you do now.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you, man. Fuck
Awesome.
yeah.
We enjoyed it. For
Hell
D'Anthony Holloway, Jared Taylor, Steve-O, I'm Ross Patterson. This is Drinkin' Bros Podcast. Good